Plumbing heck. Plumbing heck, what is that all about? Bloody hell, where's this come from? And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another day of the video. Darren, how's it going today? Today it's a Wednesday. Graham's chilling out here. You right, Graham? Get her out in a ball like every don't chew that, Graham. That's rock. You fool. We get Graham out every morning so she can run around in a ball and stuff, and thought I'd like just get her out on my desk for a little bit, see what she does. But stop her going absolutely crazy and jumping off or something mental like that. So yeah, look, she's having a nice little run around, aren't you, Graham? Oi! No! Stop it! Although I do think that she wants to go back into her house. Oh, okay, Graham, come over, you can do it! Way! Woo, Graham! Okay, so Graham is back in a cage, which means it's time to do some work. It's ever so dark out. It's really, really stormy. Like, it just casually hailed, and then the hail obviously looked a bit like snow. I thought it was snow for a bit, but it wasn't, it was hail. And then it's now normal again. They're just every now and again just freak rainstorms. So I've been like on hold just in case Laura wanted to lift down instead, because it was thundering earlier, lightning as well. I was just sat here and it just went and it was looking like, whoa. Anyway, today is Wednesday. It's a programming day. We are focusing on my project, and I'm focusing on trying to get the internal test runner set up. The internal test runner is a bit of a bitch to test. That's the problem with it. I am going to be doing... I've produced a wrapper, essentially, that is wrapping the things that I can't test. And trying to keep that like as small as possible, essentially. In fact, let's pop the wrapper over there. Because for technical reasons, which are all, I guess, valid and above board, it's impossible to stub this kind of stuff out because of potential infinite loops and shit within the framework, because I'm technically trying to stub out the thing that's used to stub stuff out. So I'm currently in the exciting world where I'm trying to make something quite... oh, I've opened up the wrong one as well, like a donkey. So, come on, there we go. What am I? Just fucking smashing my hooves on the mouse, are we? Trying to figure out what we're doing? I'm trying to make this helper like as much of an API as possible. Like literally it does nothing but exactly what I tell it to do. So I'm trying to keep all the logic over here to reduce how much is going on in here, because this thing is essentially untested. And it's going to have to stay untested. So yeah. But that's nice. Actually, I'm going to put the lights on. Also ramped up the heating a little bit. It's been quite chilly in this room. In the flat in general, actually. Even though we've had the heating on low, it's not as warm as it used to be, which is quite strange. Okay, so we're going to be jumping into programming this. We have other things that I want to do today, but they're not really all that important. Also, my Surface still isn't picking up the keyboard. I'm getting quite annoyed at it, to be honest with you. It's quite irritating. I may consider trying to do something about it, but who knows. Let's pop a podcast on and get down to some work. It's only 8:30, but we're doing it. Also, I finally caught up on videos, so I'm sorry if you were waiting for replies to comments or video descriptions for the past fucking 7 days. So I've gone through and did all that in my commute to work, which is why I'm there. The problem I have here is that everything I'm doing is so like low level and like essentially like balls deep, for lack of a better word. Like everything has to be like fractioned off and put into different areas and things like that, and I'm like, what I need to do now is I assume I can't shim a sealed class. I assume that's not possible. Oh god. Fuck's sake. Right, okay, so I'm gonna have to have a builder there. This needs so much shit, it's unreal. I'm gonna have to have a separate builder that does this. At the very least. I mean, I could potentially shim it from within that builder. Oh, do I want a builder then, or do I want a wrapper? I probably want a wrapper, because then I can minimise how much stuff it's doing. So I want to be able to produce an app domain. Okay, so you can shim that. That's important. I think we'll do that last. Creating that, because... Right, okay then. So the object is, we're going to create a app domain builder, and that's like a sandbox builder, and that's what we're going to be doing to produce. Because then I want to build the stuff that I want to put in it, send it all off to the builder produces it and then runs it in a thread or something like that. We'll do that. Okay, no, that's good. There's a lot of things I'm doing at the moment that can't be shimmed, which it's an absolute bitch, because I've got to wrap it in interfaces. So that's a good thing. I will still have this app domain builder, however, because I feel like that's probably the best way to go about doing it, because then I can have, I could even stub it then instead of having to. Okay, cool. Trying to work, god damn it! What is with it these days, eh? It's supposed to be, we're actually forecasted snow, so I'm happy that it's hail, to be honest. But it's a good job I'm not out and about today. It's a good job I get to sit here in the warm. I'm struggling to listen to my own podcast here, this is crazy. Look at that! Look at that hail! Bloody hell! How can you not go outside and experience this? Jesus! Look at that on my car! I just went to go and move my car. And I went to go out and check out how the hail was doing. But it's really heavy hail. There's just a level of like, what looks like snow, but it's like icy slush on the floor. And it's really slippy to walk on. And we live like, our drive is a steep, well, it's like a swooping hill. So I've moved my car onto the main road instead of onto, because we've got private parking, like secure parking. Just move it out onto the main road, so if I have to drive in weather like this tomorrow, I don't have to get up that horrendous hill to do it. So, bloody hell. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. We're expecting freezing temperatures as well tonight. So, it's likely it's going to be icy, and what this hail is doing is A, bringing the temperature down, and B, putting enough water on the road for it to definitely be icy. So, and the problem with it being hail as well is it doesn't like run off like water does. You know, water like flows and is essentially only thin, but this is like already a slush. It wouldn't take much to turn this into like sheet, like big thick chunks of ice instead of like, well, I guess black ice. Well, no, yeah, I guess black ice is worse, isn't it, than the other option. White ice, do they got? I don't know. Either way, I ain't taking no chances. So I feel like I feel like my fucking stomach's eating itself right now. I'm pulling out the information I need to. I've pulled out all of the tests I need to run. I need to make sure that I'm initializing their environment properly. So I need to pull in things like if they rely on the app config, which they shouldn't, but if they do, I need to make sure that I'm using the right app config. I need to make sure that I do things like test initialize, if there is one, and test cleanup, if there is one. The downside to this is it's going to be much slower than running it through things like MS Test, but the advantages are fucking huge. So I'm essentially trying to build an object so that I can kind of just pass off this run to something else. Because I'm conscious of how complicated this method is. I've removed half of the complexity because I need to stub it out. But I'm conscious of the fact that this method's quite a big method. Although it is quite an ambiguous method in the sense that it's run all tests. I feel hungry though. I feel like I'm genuinely, my stomach is going crazy right now. Going crazy right now, I can't even open this door. I'm trying to keep all the warmth in, that's what I'm trying to do. Because rooms like this, that have the vents open, or no heating on, let loads of cold air in. It's really quite chilly, actually. Try a cup of tea then. I'm looking for something I can snack on that isn't like... Should have a bit of flapjack, that might keep you going. So on the weather front, you'd look outside now, you'd never have any idea that there was basically like slushy ice on the floor everywhere. What is with the weather these days? But yeah, I'm now at the point where I need to pull out all of this extra information and I'm looking at actively running it rather than I'm just literally just generating data at the moment and generating things to do. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And I'm doing it as well when it's asking for things like, oh, what, I'm feeding it the tests that it's like itself kind of thing. I don't think it's probably a bad idea. But as long as I stub out the invoke, I'm sure it won't cause some kind of fucking infinite loop of continuously pulling itself back into itself. I'm sure that won't happen. Is that a problem? If I'm using... No, I don't think that's a problem. Ignore me. But yeah, it's good fun. It's relatively slow because I'm trying to be careful with what I do because it's very easy for this to spiral out of control, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, the I have created and written and passed my 500th unit test. Way! How time flies when you're having fun. It feels like only yesterday we were at the 400th. It's actually been quite slow getting up to this level. On the 20th, I hit 400 unit tests. And now I'm thinking it's been like a slow burn up now. I'm getting to the tail end of the project, and it's only like ramped up recently because of these new changes I'm doing. So, I have built myself a domain that I believe is now secure. So I've got a sandbox that I can run tests in. Now, I need to populate the object I need in order to generate that. I'll do that now. I was just telling you I'm at 500 tests, lol. And then I need to run the methods that I've selected in that environment where it's safe to do so, and rather importantly I need to make sure that none of the tests run longer than a certain period of time, which is stored in the app config. Whether I have to do this via threads or via I can do it just in the app domain, I don't know, I'll find out. Okay, so I have my app domains as all now done. Threading the information through to build those was a bit of a bitch. Yeah, and I'm playing with things that I'm not allowed to stub or shim, so it's quite difficult to test. But yeah, so I've got them through. That's now all happy. I don't particularly know what permissions I need to give it yet, or what restrictions I need to give it. I'm going to hope that I can run it and it will go, oh, you need this restriction, and I'll be like, okay, there you go. There's access to whatever you need. So I think I just need to give it execution though, and it will do it. And then that gives it no file access or anything. I think that's the case, but I'm not entirely sure. So, yeah. UI permission unrestricted, unless I have to go give it file IO permission, no access. I don't know how that works. I think I have oh no, my server's gone. I think I have to explicitly add it rather than, but I'll have to check that. I'm not sure how to check that. Either way, I think it's time for lunch. It's 1:15. And I have a lovely sandwich today because we had a tiger bread baguette yesterday, and I get leftover bread today. Happy birthday. This is something you can do. I haven't had lunch yet. This is something you could do which is pretty cool. You could produce like a map of all the references and all the ways that things communicate in this. It's great. So purple lines are calls, so you're making method calls. You'll notice that, well, I'll point it out. This makes method calls on this calls that, this calls that, this calls that, this calls that, this calls that. Green dotted are implementations, so there's a lot of implementations going off to the core. And there's a couple of inherits as well coming from it, because that's where all of the core stuff comes from. There's no point duplicating codes left, right and centre. This is so cool. And then obviously within inside each module you've got these little mazes of different stuff that's being called about. This one's a messy one. This is what I'm building at the moment. This is legit cool stuff, man. I'm happy with it. I like that. That's a cool addition, I think, to the way stuff is, you know. Anyway, it's closer to now. That flapjack did work a treat. I'm gonna go have some lunch. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Bee jelly. Oh, Christ on a bike, this is hard. This is so hard. This is probably the hardest bit of programming I've done yet. So, what I'm trying to do, essentially, and also it got really warm in here. The sun, my car is going to be fine tonight. The sun's come out, it's nice and toasty and really bloody warm. So, I'm probably going to get a drink. Let's go get a juice. I have a problem where I'm invoking the methods that I want to be able to test. It's complaining that the methods aren't serializable. And that isn't something that I can have. So I need to do this other thing, which is something like Marshall by reference thing. I've never heard of it, never seen of it before in my life. I'm about to use it and become an expert at it, obviously. I feel like it's been a long day. It's been a long day. It's nearly... times it. It's nearly 5 o'clock. Well, it's 4:30 at the moment. So I need to figure out what to do with when it doesn't work when Laura gets here. I've already kind of scrapped the idea of testing as I go. I'm just trying to forge forward to get proof of concept, and then I can go back and test stuff. So I'm just literally like kind of hacking my way around. I had to hack in a little bit more information for the, not hack, but I had to replicate a little bit of information that I required from another thing. There was a workaround I had to do when I first introduced the testers, which I'd completely forgotten about in this world. So I had to push that through because in theory the testers don't know anything about how stuff's built, but they need to know where the DLLs are. And the way I've done that is basically tell them how it's built in debug mode instead of in like another mode or whatever, in what configuration it's built in. So I had to thread that through. And the way I thread that through was like create a base class so that all my test runners go through the same thing. I could pass the DLLs out from the not the compiler, yeah, the compiler, but that would be the most simple thing to do instead of doing what I've done. And that makes a lot more sense. I'll try and move that to that model probably. Okay, no, I may have been a little bit mistaken. The thing that I'm putting into the app domain, that needs to be serializable. So, or it needs to do this Marshall thing. So I've now got a worker who lives in the app domain that I've created, which I believe I can create an instance of now, which I'm just literally pressing through the code. That should work, please. Christ, it takes a while. No, okay, security, file permissions not allowed. Okay, so it doesn't have the right file permissions that it needs. What permissions do you need, son? And I'll try and get them to you. But then in theory, I've given it, what have I done? I've can now run code remotely in this app domain, and I should be able to do that fine. It's because I'm trying to do it in an app domain that I'm causing myself all these problems. That's the issue here. But it's, come on, we've got to do this, son. Right, what do you want from me? And we're going to have to do a bit of playing around with figuring out what permissions. I've just set it to unrestricted at the moment, but I'm going to have a play around with how to really set these restrictions properly. Building now, we're just copying everything over so that we can do it. There we go, there goes the build, and we'll be at the breakpoint in a moment soon. Zoom in the build, well of course the build does, because, come on lad. File not found, so it's something it can't track. Is it because, test runner. Can't find bin/atlas, which is the build configuration we're running in. That's because, no, that's fine. No, that's not fine. Why are you trying to load that? Looking in, it's looking for a folder that doesn't exist. That's why I can't fucking find it. What stupid. Where are we? We're in the command line, we're in bin, or in atlas. We're then in a folder called /testrunner. Why? So the assembly name for this is testrunner, which is interesting because it's called internal test runner wrapper. Internal test run wrapper. In the name, why are you called that then? Why are you looking for that? That's not a thing though. That's the thing. I enjoyed it when I was doing things I knew how to do. Yes, it bloody worked. Look at me calling code left, right and centre. Kind of, anyway, it threw an exception, but at least I'm calling it. Bloody hell, now I need to do is just manage the exceptions and all that kind of jazz, and we're safe. Oh, God, this is stressful. List dictionary internal doesn't allow partially trusted callers to call it, which basically means I can't have my sandbox. I don't understand it. There's like this thing where there's this app domain thing which lets you have an area, a sandbox essentially, of things that you give only certain things to, because I don't trust, ironically, the thing that I don't trust is the thing that is like, I don't trust you trying to restrict me. God damn. Oh, it's so infuriating because the reason I've created, why is it that I feel like I'm reading about why this thing exists. It's for security reasons that they have this thing where some pieces of code can't be called by things that are untrusted. But surely the definition of untrusted is that it's not untrusted. If anything, I trust my app domain more than I trust everything else, because everything else has full permissions. The thing that you would think that the thing that I've created, which is partially trusted because everything that runs within it has limitations, you'd think that would not be a problem. Because yeah, it's the app pool is partially trusted, everything in it's partially trusted, but it's protected by the fact that it's in the pool. It's back now, so I'm going to start cooking. I believe I found what to add in order to make the thing that I'm running like a fully trusted thing. Anything that you call within an app domain is partially trusted. So the thing that I want to run, I'm set as fully trusted, and then the things it invokes, like the whole app domain still has the same restrictions, apparently. Maybe, we'll find out. At the moment though, I managed to call through. I'm just getting an exception from Fakes, which is saying it's failing to resolve profiler path from core profiler path and core profiler environment variables. So I'm going to figure out how to work around that. It's such a ball ache though. So the problem is that Microsoft.Fakes, which is the thing I use to stub stuff out, because it's the thing I learned, doesn't support. The way it works is by injecting the IntelliTrace profiler engine into its stuff, and that's inside Visual Studio. So essentially, you have to go via Visual Studio or vstest.console.exe. They're your only options. And for the life of me, I can't figure out a way around this. So it looks like if I run tests internally by calling them the methods, so my internal test runner essentially goes through the test classes, pulls out all the methods and the test methods using reflection, and goes through and invokes them, and then assesses the asserts at the end. All very well and good, works absolutely fine, unless you try and use fakes at any point. So I either try and use VS test, which I've been trying to use, and I have the problem where it doesn't spot infinite loops, or I continue the route I'm going now, drop support for Fakes, Microsoft Fakes. I mean, I don't know how popular Microsoft Fakes is, but I use it. It means my entire test project I can't feed it itself anymore. So, option number 3, probably the fastest option. Go through, using Roslyn, go through the test projects before compiling and add a manual timeout to each and every single one of them. Chances are you're going to be using, well, that's how you do it for Visual Studio, for VS Test. I'm going to have to edit the tests to do this. I mean, that's not foolproof either, because what if the infinite loop's in the initialize stage? I mean, well, the chances of that's pretty fucking slim, but not necessarily. Not if I mutate something in the constructors, which causes an infinite loop, and someone calls constructor from within the test initialize. It's bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. I have some thinking to do. I've checked in my first breaking build for a long time. It's a service. I don't think the build agent's even working on the cloud thing anyway, so I think it stopped working a month ago or so. But yeah, I don't really know how to proceed. I need to think it through and decide, basically, because it's a proper mess. I don't know whether, because people must have build servers. I don't understand why I have to go through. I bet the build server just implements. I found a link. I came into here and just looked like casually on my Surface because I was getting stressed. Found a link to something that could potentially be about adding something to the path, the environment path, on the computer, which I guess would make sense. And there isn't anything there at the moment, so it could be that. I don't know. Oh god. Yeah, but mate, all of the stuff I'm getting, it's really hard to Google because it doesn't look like anyone is coming across this issue. I feel like you know when you Google stuff and like 3 things come up, and you're like, god damn it. I'm just on like the rugged edge of what people are doing. And it becomes really difficult to try and debug things, and then you're finding things. It's all about like Visual Studio 2010, a bug that was around back then that they produced a fix for in 2012, and it was either back in 2015 or it don't exist anymore. But yeah, it's really hard to debug. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. But otherwise, I'm gonna get going. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, long day on campus. We'll see how it goes. I'll catch you later.